Méliès was a magician. He was doing magic shows. He owned a magic theater. And in 1995, he was one of the very few people witnessing the first screening of public cinema, the Lumière cinematograph. And he instantly realized that this was a tool of illusion that was bigger than anything he would do on his stage. So since 1896, he would mix in his shows films and actual staged magic tricks. And the more it went, the more film became important, his reputation grew. He was such a good engineer, or at least in mind, you know, to be a magician, you need to know your tricks and your everything. So he knew that, and so he knew how to operate a camera, and with a very simple box and a crank, he could do special effects the big way. So he was the inventor of special effects. He did that trip to the moon, which was not only the first blockbuster in the history of cinema, but also a film that today is still remembered. You know, that trip, the moon with the rocket in the eye. Very few people have seen the film, but everyone knows that image. It's like the avatar of its days. So that's who Méliès was. He is also one of those persons who did not adapt to their times. And after 16 years of career, it stopped. And he lived until 1938, but he stopped his career in 1913, before the war. And he's also one of the icons of the drama of disappeared films. He's the one who destroyed himself, his 500 negatives, by fire. So it's really an icon of cinema in what it has the most magical and also most tragical. In 1999, it happened here in Pordenone. Mr. Anton Jiménez, who was the head of the Cineteca di Catalunya in Barcelona, came to us because we were showing a film by a director, Spanish director called Segundo de Chomón, and of a film that we had found and restored. And he said that he was interested because Chomón was born in Barcelona. So we said, well, we can do an exchange. We have this print that is restored. We can, of course, we're more than happy to do an exchange. What do you have that is hand-colored? Because this one was in color. And I said, oh, well, besides The Trip to the Moon by Georges Méliès, we have nothing in color. You know, and it's like the Holy Grail. But what Anton Jiménez knew also is that his print was totally decomposed. So it was basically exchanging something against nothing, against the remains of like the Holy Cross. And when we received that at Lobster, with Eric Lange, my partner, we were wondering, what are we going to do with this? You know, we're at an age where we can send human beings on the moon, but we cannot restore one of the most famous silent films in the history of cinema. And well, it took 3 years for us to find our ways with chemicals, with all kinds of, we've even set a small optical camera to refilm the bits and pieces. It was very, very bizarre. So for 3 years we could extract the content of that piece of wood that was the original print, but it came out in so many pieces and it was so damaged that it was obviously impossible to restore the film, so we decided to wait. And between 2003 until 2010, what happened is nothing. We waited until the right moment would come. the right moment happened in April 2010 when two foundations who have been our partners in this project, the Groupama Gan Foundation for Cinema, the Technicolor Foundation for the Film Heritage, joined us. And the three of us decided to basically put all the energy and money not only to restore the film, which cost more than $500,000 for a 15-minute film, which makes this restoration probably the most elaborate, sophisticated and expensive restoration project in the history of cinema, but also to promote and distribute it widely. We commissioned, well, actually, we asked a French group called Air to make a new soundtrack for the newer audiences, and you know, that's how it went. Basically, the entire project was designed as a project to promote and to revive the experience of Trip to the Moon in its original form. You know, at Lobster, Eric and I got the Jean-Mitry Prize, which was a great honor in 1997. It's 14 years ago. 2 years later, we discovered that film, and it took 12 years to restore it. And now we're here back to give that Jonathan Dennis lecture and show the film tonight at 8:30. It's a great honor because Pordenone is our home. It's our family. There's one family meeting each year, and really, without that proximity, without the friendliness of people, without all that, without the unique films and kindness of pianists, people, programmers, restorers, we would probably have stopped doing film heritage work, at least on that scale. So, you know, it's a joint event, and Pordenone is at the beginning of that event and at the end. That's the way it should have been.